Good afternoon. Welcome to Good Guy Sports. I'm Justin Gerke, alongside our co-hosts Blake Weinberger, Blake Gerke, and Mike Roby. We will have a lot to discuss today before they jump on with us to talk about some other topics. But before I do that, I am joining you live this week from Coney's Island, getting ready for the annual hot dog eating contest, led by defending champion who has been here before and is a true legend, and he's done it, and he knows how to get it done, and because he's that good, and he's a and he's a great competitor, and he's been there, done that, and he is none other than Joey Chestnut. That's right. I am joining you live virtually in his stopping grounds at Coney's Island up there in New York, and what is known as the Boardway for all the amusement park rides, and yeah, you see the um famous icons sign right there with the nice hot dog stand behind me. That is where it all got started and where it all takes place every single year. It during the time of year during the 4th of July season, and that's what I want to start off with, and make sure that all our viewers just want to know what they have in store for this annual tradition that they do every single every single year for this competition. So Mike, great to have you back on for, in the eve of the 4th of July, about 2 more months, 2 more days left in June, and now we're just right around the corner, just having about to have family over this weekend on Sunday, and the whole family's gonna be back with us spend the holiday with us, and with all the parades, fireworks going on for everyone for everyone that's watching. Hope that everyone has a great 4th of July. And Mike, great to have you on.
Yeah,
I I
thank you.
I see. Yes, absolutely. I see that you're wearing your 4th of July baseball shirt on there
Absolutely.
for this week's show. Tell us about it.
Wow, I this is just a Nationals 4th of July celebration. The buttons are wooden and made into looking like baseballs. I'd like to everybody to keep their pets safe on the 4th and make sure they don't get too scared with all the fireworks and keep our four-legged friends happy. Jack, did you know
Mike.
that Pepsi Cola is infusing Pepsi Cola into ketchup?
I didn't know that.
It's going to be offered in 4 baseball parks this coming weekend.
Did Joey Chestnut eat it, Jack?
I have no idea
I
what it would
doubt.
taste like.
I have no idea either, but
It
But
just
if
sounds
I
like
had
a
to try
bad
it out,
idea.
I think I'm about to find out what it actually tastes like, because if I sampled it, I'd be very interested to see what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, are you more of a mustard and sauerkraut on your dog?
Yeah, I am I like it. I actually like a little bit of everything. My dad is more of the ketchup kind of guy, and he likes a little bit of mustard, but he actually likes a lot of ketchup on his, so he likes to like
Okay.
double up on that.
All right. We are planning to have chili dogs on the 4th.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yes, indeed.
Over there in the Roby household.
Uh-huh.
That sounds like a great 4th of July meal right there.
Yes. Yes, indeed. All right.
No, 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 no.
Oh yeah. I hear my mom in the background. Yeah, you hear my mom humming in the background because the Braves have swept the Twins, and the Twins are not where they want to be. Swept by the Braves, and the Twins just in the press conference having to deal with tough questions because the Braves swept them at home against
Yeah.
the Twins, and the Twins their manager is having a hard time asking tough questions in his press conference, and after what he's been through, and I can tell you he is not happy after what he's just seen, because I watched an interview on him, and yeah, the Braves keep on rolling, and now there are like 5 games clear ahead of the Mets, who are just having a hard time trying to fire the manager, and see if there's a great job, which I'll get to in a minute. But
Well, the Mets are in
yeah,
fourth
right.
place.
Yeah,
The
we'll get to them.
Marlins are in
Yeah,
second.
yeah, we'll get to the Mets in a second. But the Braves are by far the best team in that division, and they just keep winning a lot, and that's why they are the team to beat in the NL East.
Yeah. I think the Braves fans must be stuffing the ballot boxes for the All-Stars. You look at it, it's like they're all Braves.
I know. That's what I keep hearing about too. And yeah, I'm sure all the All-Star pre-shows and stuff like that is just going to be really wanting to see what they have in store for this year's All-Star festivities for what players they selected, whether it's Acuna Jr. or among others who I think will be on this year's ballot. But it hasn't been all revealed yet. But it'll be out there just to let you know to see who will actually be going to this year's All-Star festivities.
Yeah. No, they're definitely a hot team.
Yeah. Yeah, they're off to a great start. They're off to a yeah, right now the record is 53-27 and yeah, so so if I had to take a look right now, we know the Braves are in yeah, the Braves are definitely in first place of their division and so they
Well, they're
are
definitely not missing Dansby
no,
Swanson this
no,
year
they're
at
oh
shortstop.
no, they're not. They're not. They're all I'm hearing is that they're healthy and they're strong and
Yeah.
continue to continue to continue on this hitting streak and they continue to dominate with the ball and they keep they keep scoring more offense and that's what's keep and that right there is what's keeping the Braves winning more games and that's why they're that and that great of a team for a reason.
Well, I'm just happy that the Nationals won 2 series on the road.
But then that's great that your team won. But then they also have this controversy with Dave Martinez arguing with the umpires, just doing all this stuff that he's just not just really against with, and he just likes that argument on whatever he's trying to say to the umpire, just like, yeah, what do you think you're doing? That kind of thing.
Well, you gotta have baseball's gotta have a little emotion onto the game. And I think the 2 calls, I think Davey was right. Um, it was fun to watch. He had to spur the team on, give them some spirit.
Yeah, right.
Certainly not good for his heart condition, that's for sure.
No, it's not. No, not at all. Yeah, so anyway, so believe it or not, the Twins are a first place team in the AL Central. Despite that, they had to come to Atlanta and play the Red Hot Braves, and that's what kept them that is what kept them not winning a game and being swept by the team that I'm cheering against. And yeah, I mean the Twins are having a tough just having a hard time right now. They are the ones that are having an up and down kind of season, but yeah, the Braves just kept just kept on battling, but they just but they found a way to win a 3-game series, and that's why that's why they're hot right now for a reason.
So you think the Mets are going to sell off their team?
I don't know that for sure, but what I do know is that for the Mets, they're at the bottom of the division, and Steve Cohen is what I keep hearing about on like Sports Center reports and stuff like that is that he's having a hard time not giving up on their like manager Buck Showalter, and
Right.
he doesn't he doesn't feel like he wants his manager to get fired because he feels like he's just the right the right manager for the league or for the team or for their Mets farm system or ownership organization or whatever. And but 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 us in the media argued that he should have been fired in the first place and start all over and and make them do something called a clean house, and you do that, and then the Mets will, who knows, the Mets will probably be in the mix and be a lot better than what they where they are right now. And I think a fan up in New York media or any listeners up there have got to think they got to think they deserve better than that, because for what I'm hearing, the Mets fans aren't really buying it, and they're not happy against it, and they just want to see the manager go. And but their ownership and the owner Steve Cohen disagrees, and they got to address something about it, or else it's going to be like a long offseason to figure out what they should have done. Then when this actually happened, because if you think about it, the Mets had the best odds to make the playoffs. Now it's become a drop off to where they are now. So that's part of the reason why the Mets have lost so many games, and they're in trouble now. And I think the Mets have got to do something, or else it might be a bit too late to catch up despite that you now have the highest payroll in all baseball, and now that you can't figure this all out, because if you can't get all the stuff addressed like in than where it was previously, then you're going to be having a long off season to what you're going to have to deal with, uh to what the team has to address, probably in the years to come, or probably in the off season. Just have to figure out how this happened and why did it take place. And
Yeah.
that's something that the Mets are going to have to are going to have to address, and know what they have to do for their planning, for their roster, and for the team, and for this franchise in the off season.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Thomas Boswell had a good article in yesterday's Washington Post about the Nationals and them getting rid of a lot of their stars from the 2019 World Series team, and how much they're probably a lot better off rebuilding than keeping some of those stars that were going to be making mega millions. And it's a very interesting article. And talk about guys like Lane Thomas and how he's hitting, and comparing Lane Thomas, couple of the other people, CJ Abrams at short, and Candelaria at third base, and Luis Garcia that came up in the farm system, comparing them to guys like Anthony Rendon, who's one of our stars, Juan Soto, even Trey Turner, and the Nationals guys are statistically head to head are playing better than all those guys are making mega millions this year. They was talking about Trey Turner, who I love as a player, as a fan. I hated to see him go. He's only been involved in 21 double plays, where CJ Abrams, who came to the Nationals as part of the trade for Juan Soto, has been involved and partnered in 49 double plays this year. A big difference. So it just seems to be a theme with the Nationals as well as the Wizards to rebuild, jettison your players, jettison some of your big buck players, and start rebuilding.
Yeah. It's really a hard time these days for any Washingtonian fans, just have to deal with all this, especially when your best players leave your city, and now just makes you scratch your head and having a hard time of what you guys have had dealing with after all these years. You had success there, but nowadays, like you said, it's just been they're just the franchise and the teams are just rebuilding, want to have to start all over again. And that's just how things are nowadays compared to how things work back then. But
Yeah.
yeah, teams up
I
there
mean,
are
look at
same as they used to be.
yeah. I mean, look at the Mets. They're spending $86 million on 2 pitchers,
That's what I said. The high
and
school,
look at the Braves.
right?
There's stars on the Braves. There's a half a dozen guys that are stars on the Braves combined are making less than that 86 million.
Wow, that tells you something right there from what the teams have spent after for the last few years that they've spent it with one of their with how much they're spending for one of their contracts and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that explains a lot for how the team has played well as of late and currently, and it tells you a lot how the team just has continued to be dominant. And I'm sure Blake will have more about that once he joins us
Yeah.
shortly, and
Did you see the
tell you all about it.
perfect game
Yes,
yesterday?
yes, I caught it. Yes, I caught a clip of it last night, and everybody in the sports world was talking about it, and I am one of those people that want to discuss it right now. So, yes, Dominican Garmin, the Yankees pitcher from the Dominican Republic, first froze the perfect 24th game in MLB history. And that took place in at the Oakland Coliseum at the Athletics last night, and and he and the guest and who is the Yankee who joins the list of the fourth perfect game in MLB history after he joins Don Lormans in the 1956 World Series, David Wells in 1998, and David Cohn, the current color analyst from the Yes Network in 1999. So there's a list of that for the last no hitters in all of Yankees baseball history. But the last time we've seen this happen, well, you have to go back to the August 15th of 2012. That was Felix Hernandez of the Mariners. So a lot of history involved with
Yeah.
that no hitter. But about last night, that was just some kind of a special moment kind of feel for us sports fans watching it. And
Yeah.
watching in real time, I realized that it had to be one of the most probably epic and most remembered performances probably um perfect game in all of MLB history. They had to be in the history books.
Yeah.
Something that you remember watching that day, and I had a chance to
Yeah.
I did have a chance to see it that on ESPN last night, and that was
Yeah.
just a incredible
Yeah.
perfect game. And listen, it, it it is not an easy thing to do as a pitcher because you have to deal with all those great hitters, and that's just part of the game. And you just never know what sports going
And
to give you. But
he did something for the very first time last night. There's a term called a Maddox, and that's when a pitcher, it's named for Greg Maddox,
mm-hmm.
and it's when a pitcher pitches a complete shutout, a complete game shutout in under 100 pitches.
Mm.
He Jermaine yesterday was the first perfect game to throw under 100 pitches. He threw 99 pitches last night.
That's crazy.
So he was the very first one to pitch a Maddox with a perfect game.
Yeah,
So
that'd be something.
yeah, I mean, that just tells you he did not have high counts on any of those, batters. They're very rare any 3-ball counts on any of those hitters. And he was just going after them. Unfortunately, there was only about 12,000 people in the stands to see it
Yeah,
live.
yeah. I know it. I know. Yeah. That's right. It took place at the Oakland Coliseum, where I hear they don't draw very great crowds there, and Yeah, they are playing against a bad team in all of Major League Baseball, and that explains a lot of how the team just hasn't had success than they had over the years. But I get what you're saying with the attendance of that stadium over there in Oakland. And yeah, I understand what you're saying, but yeah, that's just not a great. Yeah, but I understand that they draw great crowds, but not than what you were used to back in the day when they had a great team back then. But
Yeah.
even though it was a great witness a great no hitter in MLB history, it still just didn't feel like a normal kind of crowd feel than what this stadium been has been for centuries. And I just think
Mhm.
that's just part of what part of what the team what the team
Yeah.
is going through now.
I think that was the third perfect game thrown at Oakland Coliseum.
Really?
Yeah. Catfish Hunter threw the first one in 1968. And I believe another Oakland pitcher uh, also pitched a perfect game in the sometime in the 70s.
Right, right. And I also have to point out that the 1956 no hitter was actually in a World Series game. I think
Yeah.
it was game 6 or something like that. So
Yeah. You know
that
who was catching
um
for the Yankees?
no idea.
Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra, oh, that's right, Yogi Berra. I knew it. I knew it.
After the last out was recorded, Yogi got so
Yeah,
excited.
yeah.
He jumped into the arms of the pitcher.
Man, that had to be a special moment there.
Oh, absolutely. I love Yogi. He
Yeah,
was great.
yeah, it's a classic for
Hmm.
probably one of the best major league pitchers and players of all time.
Yeah.
That one's in the history books.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on now to another topic here. So let's talk about the College World Series, and we talked about and I want to now I want to talk about this one because both teams exchanged scores between one game went to an extra innings, an 11th inning, and the other one was lit up. That would be in game two, lit up in a football score. And then in game three, it was dominant, and then LSU wins the College World Series and wins the seventh title since 2009. And believe it or not, LSU is a team that they are the top team dominant in this year's draft, much like Alabama and in college football. Is their version of it. And you think about it, in the first round, you got players like Paul Skinas. He's going the number one overall pick to the Pirates. Number two, your team, the Nationals, they are projected to draft um, Dylan Cruz, the outfielder out of LSU, and he's supposed to be who knows, maybe he might be a good prospect for your team, I bet you he's probably going to go to the minor leagues before he makes his big league debut. That's just how it goes in this league. And then rounding out, we got the Tigers. They are drafting outfielder Watt Langford out of Florida. Um, after that, you round out the Rangers, Twins, and Athletics, Reds, and Royals, Rockies, and Mariners. Um, the other prospects available on that list are for LSU in Florida are Hudson Waldry. We got Trey Morgan out of Morgan. He plays for LSU, and then and then Trey High Ford, Horst, and then we got Grant Taylor. They all play for LSU, and there are games this year in college baseball out there in Omaha where I feel like it's a place you should go in your bucket list for maybe next year or year after. It will definitely be worth your lifetime for your visit for your trip there, and I think that will be a great experience for you. But about that, what are your thoughts on this year's College World Series final between this between the two great teams in a hard-fought fight until the very end, and then the MLB draft coming up during All-Star week. And want to get your take on that, and what do you think about this year's prospect I said, and tell me about this year's MLB draft and the players that I mentioned from who were drafted and the top 3 picks.
Well, I think you're spot on. It's very interesting that LSU has a couple of the guys that are going to be in the certainly in the top 10, if not the top 5. With between them and Florida, that was certainly good games to play.
Absolutely.
I was just thinking that the Nola brothers are from Louisiana. You got the one pitches for the Phillies and the other one catches for the Padres.
Oh man.
But they're both from Louisiana.
I'm not sure how that's gonna go. But they're brothers. That's really all that matters.
Yeah. But it's gonna be interesting for the draft. I mean, I think in the Nationals case, they're gonna go for the best player available. They're pretty stocked on some outfielders right now, but we can always use a good bat.
Another outfielder.
Always use a good bat. That's for sure.
Yeah, you guys could always draft another outfielder. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to that, and I think that the Nationals are in a good position to do that. And I think the Nationals are all in, no matter what position of player they draft.
Indeed.
All right, so while Blake is still waiting for us to come on, let's talk about some other sports news I want to get involved with. There is breaking news right now, as we speak. James Harden on the move to opt out as 76ers explore the trade options, maybe for the Rockets or stay with the 76ers. I mean, different sport. I mean, you don't follow the NBA too much, but maybe you do. But James Harden are expected between the LA Clippers and New York Knicks are among with the potential trade sources and involving with Ben Simmons, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green, and involving with the Sixers this offseason have hired a new head coach, Nick Nurse, and that's all I want to get to. Blake Erke is finally on the show with us, and that's what I was talking about before Blake comes on. And Blake, can you hear me? And there you are, Blake. Do we got you? You got us?
I think he's organizing the car.
And we got another Blake joining us.
All
right. Blake, can you hear me?
Yeah. Let me get my audio settings better. Hold, please.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes. We got you.
All right.
So Blake, I don't know if you know, but we were talking about some topics before you guys came on, and one of them was the no-hitter with Dominion Garland. Did you
Wait
have
a second?
Yeah.
It wasn't a no-hitter. It was a perfect game, right? A perfect game.
I think he said perfect game, and I don't know, but he didn't. But
in front of what if I told you the first perfect game pitched in over a decade was in front of the fewest fans? Perfect game in front of no fans.
Well, that would be that would be during a time when we had the pandemic, when there was when there's nobody in that would be a time during the pandemic when nobody was there. And that's just
and also at every current Oakland Athletics home game as well.
yeah, because the stadium has been there for decades and centuries, and they don't draw great fan attendance there, and that's team that is the team that's had a boycott involving the team moving out to Vegas, and that is that team, and so they did witness to history involving with the 24 perfect game, and that'll be history.
I got a question about the perfect game. A perfect game, and you and Mike are experts. A perfect game meaning that no one gets on base.
That is correct.
Okay, they can hit the ball. It doesn't have to strike everyone out. They can hit the ball, but they have to get the out.
They have to get the out. The pitcher faces the minimum number of batters, which is 27.
Let me ask you a question. We take this a step further. Has anyone ever recorded 27 strikeouts in a row?
No.
Including the first batter.
That would be in an immaculate game. As opposed to an immaculate inning.
Is that true?
An immaculate inning is when a pitcher strikes out all three batters and on 3 pitches each.
Wow.
The very minimum number of pitches for it would be 9. But yeah, nobody.
Wow.
The most strikeouts in a Major League Baseball game is 20. There are several pitchers that have done that. Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, Max Scherzer, and I'm sure I'm forgetting 1 or 2. But that's the most strikeouts in a Major League game is 20.
Now, is what happened with a perfect game even a bigger feat based off the shaving the ball down, not letting the ridges get up, not letting the ball move as much, taking the pitchers aren't allowed to use the resin as much anymore? Does that make this a little more impressive?
Well, I think last night what made it impressive is he only threw 99 pitches.
Wow.
He threw a perfect game with the least number of pitches ever.
Wow. What was the story that came out where I don't know, one of the old school famous baseball players is it true that someone did a perfect game back-to-back nights or something to that effect? One of the back in the day.
There's probably been back-to-back no hitters.
Okay. Maybe
but
that's
I don't
what it
think
was.
perfect games. And there's also been 2 pitchers that have pitched no hitters going through 9 innings, and then one team ended up winning in overtime.
Oh, so therefore that would take it away. So the offense, Lynn did no help at all, and that's wow. So
and I think there's been a no hitter where the pitcher actually lost.
Because that's what I was going to ask next. Gosh,
I think you're right, Uncle Mike. I remember that game.
Yeah.
I think it was a Marlins game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Where the guy was pitching into the extra innings because it was 0-0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the pitcher for the Marlins that was all the rage for like 2 or 3 seasons? It might have been when they made a run. Did they win the World Series?
The Marlins,
2003 they won.
Yeah.
And who was their main pitcher? Was that guy? I think he had a very unorthodox throwing.
Dontrelle Willis. Yeah.
Yes.
D-Train.
Yes.
Yeah, he had the funky windup. Yeah, D-Train.
D-Train.
Yep.
It's a great name to say. Anyway, so before we had you on, Blake, we also want to talk about another we also want to talk to Blake Lumberg about this one too. We'll
Which one?
We'll also get to you, Blake. But anyway, we want to get your thoughts on we also want to get your thoughts on the LSU Florida teams putting up
Oh my gosh.
offensive points in the College World Series game. And Blake,
Holy smokes.
you're down in Florida, and they are just heartbroken down there for all their professional sports and their college teams down there, and it just continues to happen. But what a great effort! But this year's College World Series between LSU and Florida, your thoughts?
Jackson, it's so funny that you brought that up. I literally, you can't make this up. I broadcasted live from the Bay. I could have, if I would have done this on time, you would have seen I was downtown Gainesville, completely forgot about that game. I'm leaving Tampa, going back up to Charleston, and I literally just drove through Gainesville, and I couldn't figure out why everyone was so sad. And now I know.
Yeah, because everyone there in that college town is so upset, like you said, and they're just so quiet, and they're just they just couldn't say anything, and those fans down there for those college students, and those folks down there just can't really get over themselves after what they just deal with, because those fans out in Baton Rouge, those college, those Tigers just found a way to get it done, and they got revenge since they met him in 2017. But I feel like but something tells me it was their year to get their revenge from them. But
Jackson,
and that's part of the reason why they won the title this year.
Jackson, I'll tell you what, man. If there's ever been advertisement for never give up, never quit, man, we just saw it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I remembered that Florida broke the amount of hits record the night before when they sloshed LSU, and then LSU I think re-upped their record by 1 and broke the amount of hits record in the next night. I mean, I've never, you can't, I think the headline would say something like, "You can't make this stuff up." I mean, I don't know. Mike and Blake, I'm sure you guys were just in all of what, after you get trounced like that, to come back out and, put the bat on the ball like they did. I mean, that was incredible. Not a great game per se, but a great feat to watch.
Oh, without question. And
yeah, it was impressive. Yeah.
And it's definitely one of the and like you said, definitely one of the most probably the most watched and the most dominant, and probably the most College World Series title game of all time. Like you said, and if you agree,
I do have a question for you guys. With the amount of hits given up, this is the SEC, and I wouldn't think an SEC baseball team would have a minimal amount of all-star type pitchers, but it seems like, I mean, were the bats just that hot, or was Florida out of pitchers the last night and was LSU out of pitchers the night before? I mean, how did this happen? How do you explain this? I mean, were the pitchers just not the caliber that they usually go with? What, we have injuries? I mean, is there a backstory to all these hits?
Okay, so here's what I think happened. So Florida jumped on a 2-0 lead, but then LSU won the bases, and that was where things took a turn, and that's how LSU gave their momentum back. And it from what I've seen, they have something called that Florida got something what is called a blow and save, and that's part of why they lost game 3, and a lot of that has to do with how poor their pitching was, and that's part of why they blew that lead, and that's how LSU won the championship. And they just got, and the bottom line is LSU had better players. They got beat, and that's why they got beat by that's why LSU turned out to be the better team, and that's why they end up winning the game. And listen, I think Florida just gave all they could. It's just they didn't have any more momentum left, and they just couldn't have more intensity on there. But they just they used all their pitching stuff, pitchers as they could. It's just it's just LSU was just a more dominant and better team in that one, and yeah, Florida just didn't have enough pitchers in their lineup, and that's why they lost. And yeah, you gotta give credit to LSU. They were just a better team, and they won revenge, and that's why they that's why that's why they that's why they won the game that night.
It did seem like, judging from the other games in Omaha, it did seem like a particularly high scoring College World Series, to your point, Blake. I think the bats were definitely hot. It seemed like all around.
That last game, they had LSU had 24 hits to Florida's 5 hits.
So what were these pitchers single game ERAs? What was the last night and the night before? Could have been too good, right?
Yeah, I think they burned the stat sheet after that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Too much LSU after the game went early on, and that definitely explains a lot after how this game have went through. So it tells you how this World Series could happen from like it tells you how a team could win in the first game, and the other team bounces back in the second game, and then the game one winner just closing out and fashion. That tells you
Hey,
that tells you it's baseball.
Let me ask you. That's what you say. Let me ask you this, Jackson. Did this solidify? Does the SEC win Conference of the Year in sports after the baseball finished, 2 SEC teams facing off?
Now, are we talking about the Capital One Cup, or is this some like?
Oh no, just this is Good Guy Sports Conference of the Year. Just off the top of your head, because we had an SEC team win football, right?
Yeah, so how many titles is it for SEC this year?
Oh, you're talking about the entire conference, or two teams?
Yeah, so it'd be football, women's basketball, baseball. There's 3.
Mhm.
3 we didn't
Are there any
get.
others? I'm sure there's other ones as well. I think Vanderbilt won the bowling again, women's bowling. You get a half point for that, maybe.
I would love to go watch that.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Who
I'm
won
sure
bocce ball?
others too. Yeah, I think. Yeah, does South Carolina do well in bocce ball this year? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if I'm not.
I'll tell you what, the state of
I don't
Florida
even-
is the state.
Wait. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the state of Florida is you got some happy people down here in the sports world, and all the different levels of sports. They seem to be doing pretty well. They're holding their own. Oh, Jackson! Breaking news for baseball for you, Blake and Mike. I just heard today that the Tampa Rays are no longer the best record in baseball to your Cobb County Braves. Is that true?
I don't know if that's accurate, but but according to some sources, depending on who you talk to, maybe it is, but I highly doubt it. Mike, do you have any thoughts on that?
Let's see.
Rays-
Tampa right now is 55-28, and Atlanta is 53-27.
Oh, weird. I wonder why they. Huh. So okay, that's not true. Okay, but hey, the Atlanta Braves
They're getting close.
tearing it up now.
That's what I was saying. The Braves are the top team in the NL East, and I think they're here to stay. And I think we all agree that no other teams in that division are going to beat the Braves. I think we agreed in our previous show that they are the team to beat in the division, and I tend to agree with all of you. And yeah, the Braves
Well,
are.
I think the Nationals got them right where we want them. Overconfident.
But the Mets,
How are
but
the
Mets-
Nationals doing?
Yeah, the Mets are the big storyline because Steve Cohen and those guys just can't seem to figure something out, because they want to fire they wanted Firebuck Showalter, but then they decided that they want to keep him, but now there's some angry fans up in Queens how they really don't want to keep how they really don't want to keep their manager and how he should let go, but he should go, but the Steve Cohen says no, they don't want to. They want to keep the same ownership for this franchise and for their organization, and they want to keep they because they have because the bottom line is they have the highest payroll in baseball, and they can't seem to make some changes, but they need to make some changes. And I'm talking to all like talk radio sports fans up in New York and for that media market up there. They've got to figure something out, or else they're going to have a long off season for the team up in Queens and those fan bases up there up in New York have got to figure something out, or else they're going to be having a long suffering off season if they don't figure this out, or else who knows? The Mets are going to be this way for probably a while.
Yep. That's the problem with big contracts.
Is that
So
anytime
are they gonna start
anytime you have
trading
the highest,
people
yeah, anytime
if
you
they
have the
don't?
highest payroll in baseball, it doesn't see it tells me that teams aren't going to really figure something out in the short term quickly. That's just how things work in professional sports, and that's what happens with the Mets. They just can't seem to win any more big games or anything like that. And I mean,
Let me
Are they gonna start trading people if they don't
I mean,
improve? You think anytime soon, Jack?
I mean, if it continues this way, possibly. I mean, it is likely because you think about it, teams. I mean, they did play some pretty good games. It's just that their pitchers and their hitters just aren't on the same page with what's going on with what's going on there for this ownership and for this farm system that they have up there. It's just a bit too much, and I think the fans really deserve better from what I'm hearing for the fans up there in Flushing Meadows and that part of the New York. But yeah, those fans have got to do something, or else they're not going to be competing for a championship probably for like I don't know for a while.
let me ask you guys this: with the Shohei Ohtani experiment and him batting, there's got to be current pitchers in MLB that tore the ball off the cover in high school and college, possibly that are begging their coach to let them take some BP. Have you guys heard of any current pitchers that are trying to get in the lineup, or I talked to a guy that pitched in high school and got recruited to college, and he was batting 600 in high school, and when he got to college, since he was a pitcher, they told him to put the bat down. And I mean, so you've got to have stories like this where I wonder, are there any current pitchers that are gonna get a shot at swinging the bat again because of him?
I haven't heard any. I'm surprised that there hasn't been. Because there's got to be guys that are just great athletes.
That's what I was thinking too.
Used to have the guys back when they had they made the pitchers bat in the National League. There used to be a couple of players who would hit above average for a National League pitcher, like Madison Bumgarner used to hit really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody else who was a really good hitting pitcher, Kershaw maybe. I don't know if Kershaw was a decent hitter or not.
Scherzer was a decent.
Scherzer, yeah, Scherzer
was a decent.
mm-hmm.
Back in the day, Livan Hernandez was a good hitting pitcher.
That's right. Yeah.
And there was a guy from I can't remember his name, the Cardinals that started getting the ups. He was a pitcher, and then he became an outfielder, and he came back into the major leagues as an outfielder. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Ohtani is a one of one though. I'm not sure we're ever going to see that in this, anytime soon. A player who's as good as he is on
Yeah.
both sides of the ball. There's people that can, I'm sure there's current pitchers that could get a few hits here and there, but be as good of a hitter and a good of a pitcher at the same time. I don't think anybody is going to be able to match Otani anytime soon. It's not Babe Ruth anyways.
Yeah. I would think the front office is probably more concerned with injuries. You're going to be paying a pitcher, top salary. You don't want to run the risk of him getting injured by DHing. But that's just a guess on my part.
Yeah, I know this. Shohei Ohtani is by far one of the most dominant MLB players, probably in league history. That now that he plays with like Trout and this dual Angels lineup that he's on and for the Angels, and yeah, he's that good of a player, and I think that he can do it all for what the team can give you. All right. We still got some time left. We got about a few more minutes left before we get ourselves out of here. I mean, it's not 6 o'clock yet, but it's about a half hour from now. But so I do want to get to another topic here before you guys joined us on our show, and that is James Harden exploring different options, trying to see if for different like trade partners to see trying to see if the for exploring trade options between is a 3.56 million option. The size working place to exploring different trade scenarios and seeing if he sounds like to me he's trying to explore trade options to the Rockets or elsewhere, but it's going to be hard to do it nowadays with the current CBA that the league is doing with right now. So that's what's going on in the NBA right now. But I do want to get your thoughts on this reaction and want to know what's next for the Sixers and James Harden on what they should be doing for this move as free agency begins on Friday at 6 o'clock Eastern.
I think they needed to move on. I think they need to give Embiid a different. The Sixers are probably going to try and make a move to pair somebody else up with Embiid. I don't think the Harden experiment with Embiid went particularly well in the postseason, so I'm not surprised that Harden's looking to move on. It looks like they're going to try and trade him to get a piece back. So maybe that's what he was looking at. Is it Phoenix and the Knicks? Maybe they try and get an asset back from the Knicks for him. I don't think the Knicks would trade. They wouldn't trade like Brunson or anybody like that. Maybe they trade like Julius Randle to the Sixers. I'm not exactly sure what James Harden's value is right now at his age, but I guess they'll look to get some piece back for him.
Yeah, whatever they got to give, I just think that it's just going to be hard for him to trade him away or go back to his past, which is the Rockets or with the Nets. That's going to be hard to trade him away with this new CBA that they're doing that's taking place now. I just think that's just going to be highly unlikely to have that happen, but you never know what's going to really happen with the trade. Along with anyone who's in free agency. I mean, one of the other players that's on this list is Damian Lillard, who wants to go to South Beach, which I keep hearing about. I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it does, it'll be a warm welcome for their fans down there, because for anybody who's listening down there has got to be thrilled if that happens, but I doubt that it will. But I mean, that would be nice if it happened, but I don't know if it's going to. But then also in other news around the league, you got Draymond Green declining his player option, which I feel like is not a great sign for the Warriors organization, because if he doesn't pick up a new contract or anything, if he opts out, say in free agency, that might be a that might be a that might be a bit of a loss for them because the Warriors have been, because let's face it, the Warriors have been dominant in the past few seasons in the Western Conference when they had this great lineup that that he puts in with this roster. But if he were to sign elsewhere, that would be that would be that would be that would be I wouldn't say a huge loss, but it would be a tough one to swallow if you're the Warriors, and yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad for them. But yeah, that's what's going on recently in free agency. But Damian Lillard to Miami is interesting, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I mean, Portland is your best bet for your best bet for you to re-sign and with a team. That's probably what he should probably be doing. But you never know between now and Friday at 6 o'clock Eastern for when the free agency starts. But yeah, I can't wait to see what really unfolds. And there'll be some trades happening on during that time. And I think that we'll have to wait and see what happens between now and then. It should be very interesting. And I can't wait to see what really unfolds on the start of free agency. But now the draft is over and we got the best players in the league, and but yeah, the draft is over. But free agency, there's gonna be a lot to unfold for our show next time we come on. But you're right, the draft is over, but free agency, anything can happen, and that's what free agency is really about. So if you guys can chime in, that would be great.
I have a prediction for free agency or
Okay.
trades. I think Damian Lillard is going to get traded to not the Miami Heat. I think he's going to get traded to the Brooklyn Nets for draft capital.
That I don't now that sports people that I've heard and talked with don't really agree with you, but
Well, you
it's
heard it from me
something
first. I'm a sports person, and I'm telling you,
I know, but any sports factor that I hear on
it's just a prediction. I don't have any particular inside information or anything like that. I just think Brooklyn has a lot of draft capital from trading away Durant and Harden and Kyrie. So I think they've got what Portland would be looking for is draft picks. Plus, they've got a couple of good players already, like Mikal Bridges. I don't know, just a little prediction there. I think him going to Miami would be maybe the safe prediction, but I think Brooklyn's an interesting destination for Dame. I would say maybe Philadelphia, but I'm not really sure how that would work. Maybe if we do like a 3-team deal where Lillard goes to Philadelphia, Harden goes to maybe Harden would go to like Miami or Brooklyn, and then draft picks going Portland's way or something like that. Maybe I don't know. But
Harden to South Beach. I don't know if I don't know if I can. I don't know if I actually see that happening, but it would be really cool.
He's gonna have to shave that beard, Jackson. I mean, goodness, he'll sweat to death with that beard in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's guys. Do you guys feel bad for the state of New York not winning? It seems like any titles in any sport at any level recently. I mean, they can't win in the NFL, the NBA, hockey, college basketball, college football. I mean, do you guys feel bad at some point for New York not winning? I mean, they're the number one sports market in the nation, right? And they're title free for a while now.
Yeah. The Yankees' last title came back in 2009. Yeah, it's been a long time. They haven't won one ever since. And
do you feel bad for them, Jack?
I do, because they make the playoffs, but they have been beaten by the Astros in the past few seasons, and they can't seem to get over the hump. Versus the Giants, their last title came back in 2012, and then the Knicks you're talking about, the other sports team up there, they haven't won the title since back in the 70s.
Jack, you're the smartest man alive.
Yeah, that's right.
You never impress me.
Yeah, because I know facts, and yeah, so yeah,
that's a fact.
Yes, and like you said, New York is in a title drought, and that's why they're.
Right, so what's the last New York title? Is it?
I don't know. I'm from DC. I don't feel sorry for him.
knew it.
They definitely have I mean, they've got a lot of titles, but I think there is a point to be said they haven't won much recently. Is their last title really the Yankees in 09? Is that true?
That's correct.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, that's for a city like New York, I guess that's pretty crazy actually. I didn't really think about that, yeah. I don't know who's the closest to even
Jackson,
winning it because
are you currently in New York? Is Nathan's in New York? Are you currently in New York?
Yeah,
Broadcasting live in New York?
It's like Coney Island.
Yes, it's in Coney Island on the boardwalk on the shore. It is connected right next to a beach on the water there. So it's actually on the water, and it has like a bunch of like rides and attractions that are surrounding it. So it is on the outskirts, but it's on surrounding a body of water.
Is Joey Chestnut retired, or is he still?
No, he's continuing on his domination.
He's crunching and munching.
Crunching those dogs up as he can. That's what he's a pro at it, and he's sticking with what he of what he does best.
so should we give predictions for how many hot dogs the champion will eat before we go here, Jack?
Yeah, I think he'll eat like, I don't know, 45,000 or something.
Nah, probably not that much. You could maybe say 45.
Like 45,000. Let's keep it
Conservative.
at that.
89.
He's gone for the high end. I'm gonna go for 67. That seems like a lot. What do you think, Blake?
Now, if these were half smokes
72.
from Ben's Chili Bowl, he'd only eat 40.
72.
Blake's going 72.
Well, luckily they don't serve chili
Yeah.
at this competition. So
Yeah, if it was chili dogs, you can probably cut that number by a third. I would
No,
say.
I'm at half smokes at Ben's
Yeah.
Chili Bowl, which is a DC landmark.
That's
Okay.
not
How many-
there. Hawk and Dove, is it? It's not over there beside Hawk and Dove.
No,
Okay.
yeah, they're known for their classic chili up there. That's why Uncle Mike had to bring it up. But yeah, unlike when David's hot dogs first started up in Coney Island, up in New York, where it's different compared to what Uncle Mike what he grew up in. That's a different story. So that's just something that we have to keep in mind here. So yeah, that's something that's always a tradition, no matter what you grew up with, for your annual 4th of July edition.
Well, you all have a safe and great and a happy 4th of July.
Absolutely. You as well. You as well.
Alrighty.
All right, Blake. Great having you on. You have a safe and happy 4th of July or whatever it is you're doing. We love you. We love you as a co-host. Stay safe and enjoy the festivities for us. And we'll talk to you soon. I hope. I hope I hear back from you. And
Oh, wait, Jackson, I'm gonna be in North Carolina. I'm gonna come see you. I'll come see you this week. Are you in Wilmington?
I am.
I'm gonna be in Holden Beach, an hour south of you. I'll come see you. Can't wait.
Oh well.
Let your parents know.
We'll see, but I mean,
Oh.
I know, but it's going to be it's going to be a bit of a drive to get to where I am. But
Okay, fine. I'll see you next week. Can't wait.
But at least you'll be close. That's all that
Okay.
matters.
All right, see you guys soon.
All right,
See ya.
see you,
See
Blake.
you.
Bye.
All right. Happy 4th, everyone.
Happy
Happy 4th,
4th.
everybody.
Thank you. All right. Bye now.
Bye bye.